The Smooth Jazz Channel.
Hello, my name is Mark Clements, and I am an organizer with the Campaign to End the Death Penalty, a national organization that is concurrently stationed in Austin, Texas. I want to bring to your attention, first of all, the case of People versus Carl Williams. Who is Carl Williams? Carl Williams is a juvenile that is picked up by Chicago police in wake of a double homicide that occurs on the south side of Chicago. Mr. Williams being someone that is 17 years of age, meaning he is a juvenile offender. And in the state of Illinois, there is a statutory requirement, meaning a statutory law that requires police officers to make a reasonable attempt to notify the youth parents. In Mr. Williams' case, that didn't occur. And the red flag here is that Mr. Williams was, at least in the presence and partially interrogated by a Chicago police detective by the name of Kenneth Boudreaux. Kenneth Boudreaux's name has been mentioned in many different complaints of police torture. Torture being where that men and women are taken down to police stations. Once inside of police stations, they are subject to degrading racial overtone called niggers, nigger boy, nigger MF. Beat. How were they beat? They were beat in their chests. Some of them having electrical prongs connected to their genitals and testicles. Many of them being suffocated by these plastic typewriter covers. Some of them experience waterboarding. Some beat with water hose, some a cattle prong being used to insert into the anal area of their rectums. This is torture, ladies and gentlemen, and when police don't follow the guidelines in contacting a juvenile's parents, it must raise a red flag within our criminal justice system, not to just view this violation in totality of other evidence, but to take upon the totality that basically what is police hiding? We as a people have not reached that conclusion. What is the police hiding when they don't contact a juvenile's parent? What is the policeman hiding? What is the policeman doing? What is the motive of that police officer? The law requires it. There is a bulletin that has been in effect within the Chicago Police Department for many years. And it requires for that youth to be turned over to a youth officer. It don't mean that a reasonable attempt is being made by the police officers that want to interrogate the kid. It means turn the kid over to the youth officer. Allow that youth officer to be present during that interrogation. Allow that youth officer to at least have some type of actual involvement with the interrogation. This is systematic in the state of Illinois. Judges, you already know it is. You wouldn't let your children go through this because it's the law. It's the law. The law requires that if a kid is taken into police custody, that that kid must be turned over to a youth officer. And that, guess what? That the police officer or youth officer must make a reasonable attempt to notify the guardian, parent, or someone that is of legal consent over their child. So now we must ask, as a concerned people, where that this same conduct occurred in the case of People versus Harold Hill, juvenile, 16 years old, because he suffered from mental issues. Police used this as a instance to get a confession, kept the man in prison over a decade. Before he was allowed out, he got back out in society, and because guess what? The hearts of the people was so hardened, he couldn't survive in this society. He couldn't even get a job. The man is actually innocent and can't get a job. Think about that. Think about the discriminatory practice and the discriminatory issues that exist when a man has been exonerated but can't get a job. Something wrong with that picture. We here in America, we have accepted that to be the norm. But it's really backwards. It really makes no common sense. Even young children can see it. But we as an adults, we can't quite see it. So we don't hold the lawmakers accountable. We just let them just keep on operating the way that they normally operate. Anita Alvarez. This is a case that has been directly brought to her attention. Anita Alvarez, you're running for political office. And this is a case that directly was brought to your attention. 3 of the individuals that were arrested, charged, in prison, they clearly have come forward and said, guess what? Carl Williams didn't have nothing to do with this. We didn't even know Carl Williams. So before we get to like ticking on and saying, oh, that can't occur. Yes, it can. It occurred in the case of Harold Hill and Dan Young. Neither one knew each other. So we have not graduated from the tricks of the wild. Tricks of the wild, oh, I just lost some of you. Tricks of the wild means those schemes of the devil. You know, he makes it appear as if it's real, but it's really false. Many of you eat it up as if it's like now laters. My brother, my sister, these are your brothers and these are your sisters. Yes, many of them probably have made mistakes. But did they make this mistake? Think about that. Many of you say, well, oh man, I wouldn't want to be in prison, man. Oh man, for a minute. But you're willing to leave your own brother in prison. Anita Alvarez, she has copies of these affidavits clearly showing, guess what? These men saying, guess what? We didn't know this guy from apples to oranges. Meanwhile, while the political football is played, that's what people fail to realize. While the political football game is just being played, oh, it's a bright sunny day, Mr. Williams is locked up inside of a prison and the man is suffering. You know why? Because it's a bad choice. Poor choices lead to human beings suffering. Then when they get out of prison, then you're wondering why they are so upset with little old you. You had opportunities to vote right people into public office, didn't do it. It wasn't your Tony that was locked up. All you think is that you're supposed to help Tony. So in your thinking, you're willing to just sit because you think all you are supposed to do is help Tony. Well, what about a movement to show that the whole damn system is corrupt and guilty as hell? What about that? Aren't you tired of being treated as second-class people? Aren't you tired of getting up, going down to 2600 South California? Well, Mr. Williams is locked up behind a prison wall. And he's been there, exposed. I'm talking about to some treatment, man. This stuff is out of its world. Because those men are being treated. I'm talking with taxpayer dollars. Governors walking around, pimping, laughing, and giggling. Politicians like, man, we love you people. Because guess what? In our Illinois prisons this day, they're able to write men disciplinary tickets for placing a boot in front of their cell. They call that a security threat. So when these men get out of prison because they've been going through this reprogramming of their minds and now they're institutionalized and they put their shoe at the door, shoot, you people like, man, what's wrong with him? Won't he put it like on the side of the bed so I don't trip? See? So my point being, they're being told wrong. Being told to put clean clothes with dirty clothes, wet clothes with dry clothes. That's if they want to leave their prison cell and go eat. Something that you, the taxpayers, you pay the state of Illinois to feed each and every person that is incarcerated. And you pay to provide them a nutritional meal. So why they not eating? Why when they go to segregation, I'm talking about some of these correctional guards, they dipping in and out of the community right now. Talking about, yeah, we treating Tony real good. Yes, they are. It's called the best dog system in the world. You know why? Because see, if they don't do it, they're going to hire someone else who is going to do it because it's a protocol of the system. And if the protocol is not destroyed, you ain't chopped the head off of the snake, buddy. So the head of that snake is going to choke you. That's what's going to happen. So now we have said that it's legal to take our young kids, place them inside interrogation rooms, beat the crap out of them, deny them their parents, and railroad them and put them in prison. And then whenever the hell we feel like letting them out, we let them out and say, guess what? Their job is to survive in this society. Our churches eat it up. Because most of you have your loved ones and they're incarcerated. And regardless if they committed crimes or if they didn't, they shouldn't be treated like dogs. So the question is, what is the accountability for a system that place innocent people inside of his prison system to linger and to just sit there and they suffer and they just suffer? Their parents die, their sisters die, their children get gunned down in the middle of the streets. Most of them can't afford $200-300. Some of them, in some cases, $500 to $1,000. to take your loved one to a funeral for 15 minutes. If they don't come up with that money, they ain't going. So that means mama has died. So as a result of mama dying, you can't go. So you suffer and you sit there and you wonder, is there ever going to be a better day? So you just sit there. That's the way someone feels. Here it is, you take a 17-year-old kid. You lock the 17-year-old kid up in prison. Are you listening to me? And he sits there. He knows he's innocent. The mind starts to stir. Man, after 2 decades inside of a prison, man, you're a tough cookie. Different. Every warden is different. Every correctional guard is different. Every counselor is different. Every inmate is different. It's noisy. You never get no sleep. They wake you up 3-4 times a day with floodlights shining in your face, so hot it's like 500 degrees. So imagine that in the summertime and that heat hitting you. So they say if they don't cut it on, it's a security violation. So it wakes up the people automatically, because with them big bright lights, you're going to wake up. Right now inside of our prison systems, they feeding guys between 1 a.m. in the morning and 4:30 a.m. in the morning. So those guys get out with that same mindset. And you say, guess what? Don't you know Tony out? And now that Tony out, I think Tony crazy. Why? Man, he get up at 3 a.m. in the morning cooking breakfast. That's because they've been taught that for many, 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 many years. Many of them have been disciplined severely for not following that protocol. So yeah, they get out, they strange. Very strange. This is what the political football network of our political system is willing for a human being, a kid, to go through. So they call him an animal and try to, I'm talking about what they call it, they demonize the kid. And the kid don't even know his co-defendants. This reminds me back in 2011 when Troy Davis was fighting for his life. I'm talking about Troy Davis got 7 affidavits out of 9, and the other 2 he couldn't get because one of them was proven to be suffering from mental problems and the other one was the actual killer. So that means in some shape, form, or fashion, everyone exonerated everyone exonerated Mr. Troy Davis. But the state of Georgia felt worthy to kill the man based off of uncertainty because they don't care. Our Supreme Court okayed it. Our Supreme Court said it's cool. Our Supreme Court said it's cool. Our Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court, said it is cool. Take this brother out. Kill him. Kill him on uncertainty. But when their children are charged with crimes, and some of the most heinous crimes, just for some apparent reason, the system seems to work. So In examining this issue, what I've reached the conclusion is that, guess what? Politicians do what we allow them to do. If we expose them, if we put them on Front Street, they'll do what you tell them to do, and they will follow the law. Anita Alvarez have gotten away with all of these wrongful convictions. She worked in the office when most of these convictions occurred. She took over the office in 2008. She promised change. Yeah, you saw change. Getting locked up a little bit more quicker. That's the change that you've seen. You saw how the African American community was basically, it was demonized. And, you know, the city council now, because it ain't got nothing else to demonize it, now I want to demonize it and say, guess what? These guys selling a cigarette so they can go buy a bologna sandwich. Guess what? That's against the Constitution. Lock them up. Give them 6 months in jail and fine them $10,000. So how in the world is somebody that is homeless? Because that's about the people that are out selling cigarettes out on these train stops in Chicago. Many of them out doing it so they can subsidize their income. However, they need the money. They need it desperately. So we want to lock them up rather than to give them a job. Society says, guess what? I heard what they said. Sleep. Now you get caught up as a result of that. Now you talking about, come on, y'all. Come on, I need help. You the army. You ain't figured that out yet. You the army, man. Sister, you the army. In you, we can win. You just don't believe it. In you, we can win. I'll say it again. You don't believe it. You do not believe it. So, be honest with you, politicians love you. Matter of fact, even God somewhat, he like uncertain. Because we ain't stayed true to what we should. So now we suffering. Anytime a society allows a Carl Williams to be incarcerated and locked up, and now his case generated some attention in the news media through the Chicago Tribune, Steve Mills writing an article about some of the elements of his case, I think that something wrong with us. Do we like being pawns? I'm talking about, man, you killing people, man, because they stepped on your shoe. But the mayor, the governor, the lawmakers, and everybody else, guess what? They got you in bondage, pal, and you like it. Your kids is locked up, and you know what you say? Oh, man, they should be there. Oh, little badass son of a gun's out selling drugs and doing this and doing that and doing this. Yes, they messed up as children. So when they got out of prison, they said, well, guess what? I'm going to fly right. They went and got that job you told them to go get. That's what they did. Even went to church with you a few times. Probably had to pull on their toes and threaten them a little bit, but they got there. They sat there. You praise God for that job he got right there in the church. Oh, thank God for McDonald's. They hired my son. You get a couple of checks. The man can't survive off that. because the economy has went up with no dispute from the people. The people have been just as calm, cool, collective, while government just rape them. They willing to lock the rapists up, and the real rapists walking around shaking their hand and laughing. He is doing it in a different way that you're not familiar with. And we ain't caught on. From the Bible to the law, it really all states the same. My people perish for lack of knowledge. Go in the courtroom and tell the judge, well, judge, I didn't know that law exists. He's going to say, you should have known. That's what he's going to do. So people sit back and they say, well, guess what? They was so unfair. You're right, they were unfair. But sometimes to avoid the unfairness, it requires us knowing what to do to defeat the enemy. What makes Mr. Carl Williams' case different than all? It serves as a point of integrity. You know what integrity is, don't you? Integrity is something that you uphold. And when you lose that integrity, you'll fall for boo-boo every rip. That's what happened to children back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and part of the 2000s. That's what happened. There were pawns to the criminal justice system. They would go through, shoot, some of them got beat down. They just walked there and people was like it's a bright sunny day. Police come and go tell crime victim families at will, hey, guess what? We got the killer. And he confessed. The family jump up and down. Hey, I got the killer. Hey, oh. 20 years later, you know that song, it says 20 years later? See, that's one thing that the enemy don't plan about. You know, at least they don't plan for the later. That's why they do all they dirt for the now. That's why many of them die. Yeah, they dying like It's just so many of them. They like roaches, so many of them. They scattered. If you ever went to City Hall in the chambers, they just moving constantly, every direction. Paper flying this way and blah, blah. Soon as he ain't got time to read what's being passed out before another piece of paper put up there. And all of that stuff amounts to corruption, ladies and gentlemen. And it amounts to corruption when you have a system that knows but fail to react. Anita Alvarez must be removed out of office. She don't need to be removed out of office because guess what? She made a boo-boo. All of them made boo-boos. She needs to be removed out of office due to the fact her integrity is corrupted. Why in the world do we need a state's attorney that in the face of knowing that someone is innocent to leave them inside of a prison, just like she did Tyrone Hood? See, Anita Alvarez, and you are my Twitter friend, and I hope you watch it, somebody in your staff. The reason you must go, sister, is because you don't know how to play fair baseball. You want to play football when it's a baseball game. That's unfair. Because now you want to charge at the baseball players and knock them all down. And you want to show your power. It's walking on the little people. You trampled on your own people. And many of them see it. Many of them vote for you out of the fact of dignity of the heritage, and hope that you would change, sister. Unfortunately, I don't think that you can change. Unfortunately, I think that it is your will and your desire to see poor, Black, Latino, Mexican, and white, Chinese, Asian people suffer if they don't have no money to give you. That's the sad reality of our Cook County State's Attorney's Office. You got to have some money to get in. I'm not talking about something that somebody told me. I'm talking about something I know. Because, sister girl, I have a meeting with you right now, face to face. Why should people have to pay you people to have a meeting with y'all? That's stupid. And as God rebuked fools, that's really a fool man's move. The politician or whoever wants a vote from someone should do it out of the integrity of their heart to meet with the people. That's wrong. That's a wrong standard. That's a wrong value. Here it is. We are up to now $100 million, if not even more, for somebody to win the presidency of the U.S. for a job that paid them less than $1 million a year. Only 4 years. Are you doing the math? Do you understand? It got to be something under somewhere. Ain't nobody gonna give you $100 million to bring in two, because that's what ends up happening. They do 4-year terms. So if they get 500 grand or whatever, it's not a meal. And they get that every year. It don't even begin to add up what they spent. Why in the hell do we need a president that got to travel all over the globe? All he got to do is jump his ass on YouTube. That's all he got to do. Hey, American people, how you save the people all that money? Because want me to tell you, this is wrong. That's why Carl Williams is incarcerated. It's because the system is wrong. Because the system needs to be repaired. He's a pawn for a broken system. We better wake up. The fairness of children across America cannot be fair without second opportunity. The hope that we hope for under Miller has not been the bright, shiny star in Illinois, in large part because of Anita Alvarez. Another reason Anita Alvarez must go. Children, some being as young as 14 years of age, must be provided with a second opportunity. Don't be a hypocrite, buddy. That's what that make you when you say no. Mr. Politician, putting your tie all up, I can do that too. Second opportunity. From the big lawmaker to the little lawmaker. Second opportunity for children. Forget all that logistic garbage, wasting people dollars and money. Talking about you want to have private meetings and all of this garbage. How about doing what's right? Forget, don't have one more goddamn meeting dealing with a juvenile. Do what's right. Follow the integrity. Judges, you too, because you trampled over the people. And you sit there with a cold hearts. Then you holler the most craziest bullshit I ever heard in my life. Do you want to know what you holler? You say it's the law. But when it catch you, it's not so quite the law. We can look at Chirac. We can look at just every messed up area across this world. The bottom line of it is when our hearts grow so cold as a human being, and we let other people, and then we run to church and talk about praise God. Oh my gosh. We turn Jesus into a lie. Because the man was for compassion and mercy. So we sit there and we say, lock them up. Then we stand up there and we say, hallelujah. Then we say, Jesus, please, can you please show me some mercy? Yeah, you living good. You're living real good. That's just a short little time. Most of you die when you're 60, 70, 80 years old. The reason you die so early, because you're evil. Not drunk. Just speaking my mind. Because some point in time, the bull got to stop. You know what's wrong and you know what's right. Ain't no sense in having none of the meetings. You saw the mayor. The mayor sat there and tried to scheme on the Laquan McDowell case, tried to make it look like he didn't know and all of this, and you look and go back to his text messages. It turns him into a damn lie. Many of you open your churches up to the man, let him have the pulpit, come there, tell lies and whatnot, and because he left you with a contribution, you feel happy. Yeah, you are doing good. The person speaking the truth, god damn, they struggling. But there's a reward in that for you too, buddy. So, beating around the bush. There's some cases there, Anita, that you need to examine. Don't examine it for your office. Examine it for the integrity of the people. The people the one who pay you your salary. I don't care if Tony Preckwinkle is on your check. The bottom line of it is it come from the people. And if the people don't want you, you got to go, sister. Couldn't get you to step down. March 16th is almost here. And you know, you still lingering on with these cases once you know. I'll give you the respect that, yeah, you are tired and your body is tired and certain things is overlaps. I will say that. Yes, you are right. Man, tiresome job. But you know. And as you know, you got to make corrections. That's why I believe that you're not worthy to hold the office of the Cook County State's Attorney. To watch how you treated Tyrone Hood. See, behind any case, there's somebody hiding in the nest somewhere who started that case up, who kind of like kicked it a little bit. So because it don't generate the attention that you think is critical to you, you think you got away. You didn't get away, sister. You made that man spend some extra years inside a prison, clearly knowing that man was innocent. What did you do about 2 years later? You dropped the charges. That's what you did. You were told then that the evidence was tainted. You was explained how. And you held on to the tainted aspect. You turned the man down at the integrity unit, and because the governor turned around and corrected what you messed up, you felt like a goddamn fool and you dropped the charges. That's what you did. So now, people that have been to prison and suffered and whatnot, they're supposed to get out and say, oh, sure, it's just a bright sunny day. No, it's not. Maybe they can see a little bit more clear than, most people in society. Because they live the bull aspect of it. We need some changes. You totally allowed Michael Hart, a police officer out of Skokie, to literally go and plead to I'm talking about a charge that he wasn't even charged with. It don't even describe what even took place. The man pushed the woman into a concrete barrier inside of a holding cell as a law enforcement official and broke nearly every bone in her face. Now you sit there and you try to make it look to the poor people like you against domestic against females. What happened, sister? You gave that police officer probation. Now, if that ain't a big one and like tile in your face, that's what you did. And your own party, they sold you out. That's what they did. They didn't sell you out without a cause. You gave them the cause. Because you have allowed human beings to suffer. You still got birds torture victims still languishing in prison. Rather than, you may not have the direct jurisdiction, but sister girl, you can get it stirred. Yes, you can. Evidentiary hearings. If I'm a person and I come to you and I say, Miss Anita, the police did this to me and the police did that, and they did this to extract a confession from me, and I was a kid, you should give me an evidentiary hearing. What you gonna make me sit in prison for? Based off of procedural violations and, you file your petition 3 days late. That's the stuff that y'all do. That's political football, sister. I don't care what nobody think. My whole concern is you. Anita Alvarez, and you, the people. You, the pastors. Because, man, y'all got to get up. Now, you can't tell me it ain't intentional that the church is not effective. I realize it take a lot of money to run the church. But you cannot begin to tell me that each church in the city of Chicago cannot take on an inmate or two inmates inside of those prisons and begin to work with them and to structure them so when these men and women are released out of our prison systems that they have a legit full opportunity to survive out here. You can't tell me that. So this is what you have allowed. You allow for little Timmy to be put inside of a prison cell that really amounts to like a room inside of someone's house. Very small room, but it's a room. So now you keep little Timmy in that room for like 2 decades. Then you tell little Timmy, say, well, little Timmy, we tired of making money off of you now. Guess what we're going to do, little Timmy? We're going to let you go home. Little Timmy happy, hey, I can go home. Little Timmy get here. He's told about some organizations out here that can be of a benefit in helping them to fill out job applications. Just one thing. In most of them, the data is wrong. You know why? They're funded by the state. Think about that. What is the state's whole purpose and plan? It's called a pipeline. That pipeline led from where? Schools to where? Prison. Okay, who fund the system to fail? See, we don't look at these things. And even though I may be making funny faces or expressing myself in a different way, I'm trying to get you to understand one thing. Long as we allow people to treat us like punks, because that's what it is, you know, it's like somebody hit you upside the head with one of them old eggs they used to throw back in the day, Halloween time, and you ring somebody's doorbell and they come and a lot of eggs get slung at them. Well, that's what's happening to us repeatedly. We're being gunned down by the police with no accountability. We listening to police officers like Kenneth Boudreaux and Michael Keel come inside of courtrooms that are veteran police officers that had worked for the Chicago Police Department for much as, 30 years of their lives. And they come in and say, oh, well, no, we didn't get a juvenile no telephone call to call his parents. The judge sits there, and, not the judge, but maybe the defense attorney may say, why? They'll say, well, we didn't fully know that we had to do that. Say, well, did you turn the kid over to a juvenile officer, somebody to have the kid's best interest and make sure that the kid was somewhat treated right? Oh, well, you know, we called the area and the area didn't have one. So what did you do next? Oh, well, we immediately started the interrogation. Well, what good is it to have the juvenile safeguards if judges are not willing to follow it? I'm talking about on the circuit level. That's what I'm talking about. Circuit court judges of Cook County, Skokie, where's the other place? Bridgeview, or whatever it is. Markham, Maywood. Come on. Cook County. Judge's responsibility is to make the police officer be held accountable for why he didn't follow the law if he didn't follow it. I ain't ever known a judge to type a letter to the police superintendent yet and say, listen here, Your officer testified in my courtroom today and stated that he did not follow the safeguards for a juvenile suspect who is claiming that he was coerced inside of a interrogation room. Now that's integrity, but it ain't happened. Is that their responsibility? You better believe it. Let me go get Lil Bobby. Lil Bobby is Caucasian, 15 years old, mentally slow. 40 witnesses saw Lil Bobby commit the crime. Lil Bobby come in and says, yes, I committed it. Now I don't want to talk to you. Get my parents. And you don't go get his parents. You know what they're going to do? They're going to scold you. They're going to fire you. And they're going to let Lil Bobby go. Why we can't get the same service? Why we can't get the same attention? Carl Williams deserved justice. He deserved justice now, Anita Alvarez. Please take heed to this. Please. Thank you.